Broadcasting live from a shack on a hill in the Mossy Creek bottoms of Cane Creek, Arkansas. It is Lighting the Void live. It's Cosmic Conditions tonight, February the 27th, Thursday. The moon is dark and new, and we're back doing Cosmic Conditions. Every new moon, every cycle. This one's a big one. Mary Ducina is here with us. At maryducina.com. Sorry, I just hit the mute button by accident. MaryDusina, maryducina.com. Make sure you go check out the website, get a reading. If you haven't yet, you definitely should. So last time we did the broadcast here with Mary, the message was pretty long. So we're going to do one or two things here. We can open up the phone lines like we said last time, right in the beginning if you want. To call in, get a reading, and all that. But I honestly would like to kick off the show, Mary, with, obviously the hello, how are you? And just your initial message before we do that, if that's okay, Mary.
Oh, that's absolutely fine. I want to point out, blessings to the audience. Thank you for your very valuable mental belief system, soul energies in joining either now live with Joe and I and the energetic contributions that we wish to advance everybody. But I was listening to the intro. I don't know if I've ever asked you, Joe, who is or what is the reference of the gentleman, that starts out, say, in your mind. I was really, really drawn psychically to the words that he was saying. And I think if people, your loyal listeners, hear that and they know, oh, it's like a TV show. Oh, the commercial's over. I got to run back in. I really, really heard him tonight, and it felt very, very Piscean. It felt very healing. The words, I was really dancing with him on each one of the energetic energies with the words that he was saying. Say in your mind, I'm drawn to the wisdom and all that. That's what Pisces is about. Do you mind saying to myself and the audience who that is or what that comes from? Because it was really good. I would urge the listeners to go back to the very promo, the very beginning of the show, and listen to what he's saying.
Yeah, no, that's Robert Monroe's affirmations before he gets out of the body.
I figured it was. Yeah. I figured it. Yeah, it was. I know that that's a vast body of work that you've studied, that you teach from, and that you benefit from continually, like it's alive. There's certain where he's talking about those who have more wisdom, those who have the ability, in a sense, to get me out of my own way type of a thing, if I put it, mountain simple, how whoever it is and whatever it is that can level me up with the divine alignment, the concert of the better version of myself and the recipes and the medicines of my soul star that allows me the harmony of prosperity. I think for me, the Piscean prosperity is about jumping quicker into gratitude and jumping further into, there are so many things that could have been much worse, even though we all have had those great divides, those great fault lines. There are so many things that could have gone so much more off the rails or so much longer of a problem. It could have been so much worse. And rather than going to extremes, I found that one of the great benefits of one of the great discernment tools, and especially every year in the 12th sign of Pisces, is that if we first, instead of the normal human tendency, because of the media driven and the manipulation and the social media engineering thing of you're not cool if you don't do this and you're wrong if you don't believe like that and how dare you question this, the whole Orwellian crap of George Orwell's 1984 is where I get that, is that when we jump more into, I really, it's like Joe Rogan said on one of his podcasts, Joe, he said, we have typically an average of about 80 summers, 80 years maybe. If you just round it off as an average, some go shorter, some go longer. But when you really step back and look at the potential multidimensional awareness of what we have in this 3D Earth life, we are temples, and we have this magnificence of multidimensional, unlimited quantum realms and dimensions of, if we keep surfing the waves of moving forward, allowing the divine direction to be our navigational compass. I believe that gratitude and discernment and being able to not stay stuck with our head just above water, Pisces being water sign, the last sign of winter in the northern hemisphere. If we can look at the ocean and the mysteries and the depths of the oceans of emotions and not allow any external 3D world experience, person, episode to drag us down, to pull us down underneath those waves of, I'm drowning, I can't seem to get beyond this, I can't seem to get my head above water. Sometimes those terms are actually used in financial or job situations, or I don't feel like that we're in sync with each other. I don't feel like that we're on the same page. So I feel like with the rarefied opportunity that we have every year to bask, each one of the 12 zodiac signs is a tool, and it has benefits. We get in the toolbox, and each one of the months, we have 12 months in our measured year, the Piscean tools tell us, go inward, go inside of you. This is soul temple time. This is soul temple time. So when you look at the balance of the two mutable signs of Pisces and its polarity opposite sign of Virgo, right now, it's not a punishment. It's not bad karma. It's not meant to be, oh no, it's the drama Pisces cycle. The minuses of Pisces are the need for drama, the need for, feel sorry for me. I'm a perpetual victim. Oh, look what happened to me now. Why is this happening to me? Why me, Lord? And the attention and the pats on the back and, oh, come let me hug you. But if it's a continual victim, then there's no victory. So Pisces and Virgo say, let's be willing to kind of step outside ourselves without the grand illusion of just our feelings and our perspective of why'd they say that, why'd they hurt me, that hurt me, how come, and not get stuck there. And Pisces and Virgo say, because the full moon will be in Virgo. The first full moon eclipse will be, mid-month. This is a supermoon, new moon, by the way. So it's strong. It's a new moon, but the eclipse, it's opening up eclipse season of our lunar eclipse in Virgo at mid-March. And then, of course, our last Aries eclipse that we'll have for 18 and a half, 19 months. So what Pisces is saying is this is the true ending of the old year, because the new year to mystics and astrologers is when the sign Aries starts again. And we've talked about that many times when we come to the spring point when Joe and I've been on air together. Aries is the bold steps, the initiation of, this is how I'm going to do it different. This is what I'm going to abide by. This is where I've summoned up my courage. So this is a great time not to get bitter about what did or didn't fully manifest over the last 12 months.
Right.
This is that month of reflection. This is that month of reflection. And so I'd like to suggest, when you ask me for the opening message, I'd like to suggest and just give you one of my little quick fixes that I do with myself and have done for, over 3 decades. People get ADD really quick, and they don't want to pay a lot of attention to things. And there's great value in taking that time out in nature, in the mountains, by the sea, in the red rocks out west, hiking and such, and being among the trees and gardening and all that. We've got to clear our energetic contracts from time to time. I put it on the same scale of conditioning my hair, getting a haircut, brushing my teeth, putting essential oils. So there's different ways that you can just sweep clear the things that you don't necessarily see with your physical eyes, but yet they're there. So I'd like everybody just to take a quick breath. It's real quick, I promise, not a long thing. And whether you want to work with frankincense or helichrysum oils, or do the sage wand, or just do breath work, just close your eyes, take a deep breath, and in this next 30 seconds, 15 seconds, as I read these words, similar to Robert Monroe's words that Joe just informed me at the beginning of every one of the Lighting the Void podcast, I just want you to let the words float in your mind, do deep listening, because as you do this, your subconscious and your conscious mind merge, and they'll at least allow for the possibility for a new way, a new path forward, a new navigational compass to not stay stuck in some of the same thought patterns, subconscious habit patterns where we get in our own way, so far and so forth. So just breathe in and breathe out a little bit fuller. And this is the type of thing where we're clearing energetic contracts. We're removing what they call psychic cords or emotional blocks. I am now free from any negative energies that I may have subconsciously or consciously attracted through the world experience around me, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. I revoke and release any energetic permission I have given in the ethereal or physical realms that doesn't align with my highest path. I have now divine protections from all and any negativity attempting to attach to my body, my beliefs, my thoughts, my words, and my energy in toto. I now grant permission for divine alignment. And I am one with the all that is. And I give thanks to the great mystery, and I give thanks to Great Spirit, and I allow the Almighty I Am forces to imbue me. I hope. Amen. It can be that quick, that simple, that by us doing something new or reminding ourselves to do a reset, a recalibration, that our chakras align, our auric colors shift, that we release the negativity. We don't use it as a walking cane to go forward in the endeavors that we would like to go forward with the most. And at this supermoon, new moon at 9 degrees, it's interesting that the numerology of the year of 2025 adds to a 9. This new moon is at 9 degrees of Pisces, and we have this planetary dance that's going on over our heads tonight and tomorrow. And planetary alignments happen all the time. Some are evening, some are morning, and you can find out through JPL or space.com or NASA, it's on the BBC. It's all over right now about this planetary alignment. And yes, there's people on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram that are making bigger deals out of it than what it is for the sake of sensationalism. But tonight into the early morning and tomorrow night of February 28th, and actually started back in January, the energetic, if you're looking at it metaphysically, the spiritual wave of it, the clean sweep of it for those of us that enjoy tuning in and asking and allowing Spirit to be the guidepost of our life. It's kind of culminating right now on the 27th and 28th of February of 2025. So it's an evening alignment that starts just after sunset. And so we've got like Mars up we start looking west on the upper part of it, and we've got Saturn on the lower part of it. So we've got an alignment technically of Saturn and Mercury and Neptune, Venus, Uranus, Jupiter, and Mars. So this energy is an alignment of sacred contracts and leveling up and allowing things that once made us bitter to now make us better. And we're not going to have an alignment similar to this until 2040. Now we'll have a large morning alignment. Write this down. We'll have a large morning alignment on August 10th of this year in the Leo time of the year, and it'll be a large morning alignment of Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, and Saturn. And so this cycle, astrology is about like we're graduating, like we've done soul lessons and we've had wisdom teachers, but astrology is wonderful for being able to give us some kind of a reference, a specific reference point of the type of energetic dance that's going on. This alignment ties back to when we had the Great American Eclipse at 29 degrees of Leo back in late August the 21st of 2017. So we're clearing a lot of the ups and downs and back and forths that were the people, places, and things that were some of these people aren't in our life anymore. We've either broken up those marriages or those relationships. Some people have left the earth plane into spirit since August of 2017, be it animals or jobs or whatever. So this alignment harkens back to that third week of August of 2017. And so I think it's worth it not to spend an agonizing amount of time on it, but to kind of make a little note of that and to look back to where was I, what was important, who was orbiting as a main attraction or a main priority or feature in my life, energetically, emotionally, psychologically, financially. Who did I choose to team up with, and who has endeavored to, through all the ups and downs, what still remains in my life? Those people, that animal that came to mind, what's still around me that's tangibly soul secure, and pat ourselves on the back for every time we doubted ourselves, or we felt like we took an arrow of betrayal or loss or less than, and yet here we are, and we are still choosing, because of those potential 80 to 90 to 100 summers that we have while we spend time on this reality of earth consciousness that we're talking about, to continue to be the light, to understand and recognize shadow energies, vampire energies, energies that seek to drain us rather than to be a part of accelerating the mutual win. And so this energy of all this Pisces right now, and the North Nodes, shifted around January 11th to Pisces. For the next 18 and a half months, we've got that new nodal eclipse cycle of Pisces Virgo that's going to be with us for 19 months, a year and a half. So we'll have the lunar eclipse in Virgo in mid-March. We'll have that last solar eclipse in Aries, and then once we bounce to the other eclipses in September, when we get to the Virgo period of late August and September of this year, we're going to start that Virgo Pisces only type of an eclipse. So in your learning of your star map, of your astrological chart, the big deal that's going on in our charts right now are the houses, and they're opposite each other, the Pisces Virgo houses. March is a big month in 2025. It's a big month. At the end of March, we're going to have Neptune move into Aries, and that's not happened since like 1861 or something. So, we've got a couple of retrogrades coming up as we go into early March. I think March is going to be that nonstop clip. In March, we're dealing with Venus and Mercury retrograding, but they're recalibrating us. We're kind of like getting a tune-up with this. And I think that since we're gifted, God gifts us free will. I believe it's important in the Pisces cycle to choose to align with our spiritual anchor. What is it? How is it that no matter what goes on in our external world, what is it that allows us to receive an ability to keep on keeping on, an ability to feel focused on being the best, better versions of ourselves? What gives us the strength to set the boundaries, which can be a weakness in Pisces time or with Pisces people, to set a boundary and say, you go do you. That's your choice, that's your decision, but I'm not out to change you, and I'm not out to change me in order just to make the glove fit, so to speak. So you go do you, and I respect that right, but that doesn't work for me right now. What is it about humans that we compromise ourselves, and we, become, put a mask on in a sense, and we become hopeful that if we just give them their way all the time, or we just let them see the part of us that they like the best, how we compute that that's going to turn out well for us in the long run is interesting to me, because that's when I've heard from clients, she totally changed when we got married. He totally changed when we moved in. We were so good for a year, and then he started lying to me. And then it's like we act like we're really surprised, and we are in a psychological sense. But there, as they say, didn't you see the red flags that were going on, both with ourselves as well as that other person? What is it about us? Let's not be so quick to condemn the other person's motivations, agendas, intentions, or actions, because if we allow it, what we allow will continue. So all of us need to all of us need to start, without being hard on ourselves, start just looking at, where might I do a clean sweep? Where might I mop my own floor, so to speak? Where might I look at my shadow self and allow myself to gently love myself through where I blame myself, where I shame myself, and where I once again potentially gave in to be other than my real self, the part of me that wants to be loved that kind of way and wants to love that kind of way. If it's not a match, it's simply not a match. That doesn't mean you're wrong or they're wrong. It's simply like the timing might be off. So Pisces says to us, if it's the Christ consciousness, if it's your Buddhist practice, if it's Native American, if it's earth medicine, if it's simply saying, God, help me get beyond myself from this. I allow your divine direction. I allow you, Holy Ghost, to be in control of my path. Help me to cleanse where I condemn myself within myself. Let's start there. Thank you for allowing me, not through hardship, not through great amounts of money spent or the same lesson again and again and again. Help me to recognize that my own personal worth and my own shadow work and my own ability to be the best of myself doesn't have to be painful and doesn't have to come with such a great cost or loss, because I really believe that every decision that we make to move forward or to halt or to back up, I think if we would start with being honest with ourselves and say, whatever it is, whether it's a him or a her or a that or a job or a relocation or whatever, at what cost and at what price to my soul?
So
is my soul agreeing with this?
That's the big thing, right? So the phone lines are open now at 501-777-5631. Because the last show people didn't really get to call in, but I feel like, when I look at the chart, I always look at the chart before this show, through solar fire.
Me too.
And every time Pisces comes around, I feel a deep sense of like, it makes me think about dreams. Like, what did I want to manifest? Like, that Pisces is kind of like that deep dreamer too, right? Like, what did I want in my heart of hearts to manifest?
Yes.
And it didn't manifest. And if it didn't, then there has to be a reason for it, right? I think a lot of times we think like our own arrogance gets in the way, And so when our arrogance gets in the way, we think we know a lot about a lot. And then I'm learning some tough lessons about detaching from things, right? Because your soul knows what's best for you. And sometimes it's hard to let go of things that we think we wanted really deep in our heart, but it didn't turn out the way we wanted it. And so we want to pitch a fit sometimes, or we want to get angry. Instead, the bigger question I think would be like, did we really listen to our heart? Did we?
Yeah.
So.
The soul compass, the soul wisdom. The soul is going to grant us, both internally and externally, our soul's compass is going to bring us those people in our life on the external that we have soul contracts with, we have energetic currency with. It's going to bring us the people that will grant us both the graduations, the teachings, the lessons, and when it's time to move further into it, and when it's time to, as you say, love it, but detach from it. And I feel like a part of that is the Piscean, the dreams, what dreams may come. It has to do with, there's the dream that we start to propel forward of like, this is the way I like to love. This is the kind of love and the manner in which I like to express it. And so for people that are very amorous and want to be empathic and want to be the support, they have to be careful not to, as empathic, giving types of people, that's fine. But if that's just your mainstay go-to, but empaths in general and healers in general have to have that intuitive antenna up there that they don't attract takers, energy vampires, and narcissistic type of agendas. That's not blaming the person. That's about getting that balance, that almost like that the scales, the Libra scales of justice. Both Cancer and Pisces and Libra are extremely empathic type of energies in our charts that are saying, this is the area of my life where I can give a second chance. This is the area of my life that I don't always have to be totally getting it my way or be in charge. So we're all of us, regardless of what's in our 12 houses and all our planetary lineups right now, Pisces is the celestial wallpaper right now. It's our star wallpaper, and Pisces is saying, have you forgiven yourself yet?
Yeah.
Have you forgiven yourself? For what, like you say, Joe, have you forgiven yourself for when your soul was making the dolphin noise of, and we went into it anyway? That's okay, because we chose to go and take that foot forward into the deeper aspects of learning the lesson. Sometimes we're going to learn it the hard way, but that's good because we'll really get it. And sometimes I think it's more dangerous when people kind of get unconscious to it and they just keep repeating the same way they get angry, the same things that they feel rejected with, the same scenarios that create the abandonment lesson over and over again. The ones that are saying, I'm always the one that gives them a situation and everybody expects me to fix it or pay for it or do it. And all I end up doing is I feel like that it doesn't come back to me. So I think it's good to own that deep inside of us, our inner child, our adult, hopes for reciprocity. We hope that as we are loving as a friend and loving as a team player and wanting to win in the job or for our families and all of that, that we are strong enough as both student and teacher that we're not going to let people or situations take too much from us all the time. Part of our lesson and part of our teaching as being good, compassionate healers is to not let the person keep picking at you or wanting to get more and more and more and more, because they're, in one sense, avoiding doing the work themselves. They're avoiding taking the wisdom that you gave them or the love that you generously bestowed upon them, and they're not taking it further themselves. They didn't appreciate the free ride, or that you picked them up and paid for their gas, or you bought their meal without expectation, or you give them a psychic reading or Reiki or healing or whatever, and then they just, they love it and they fawn all over you, but then they start expecting more and more and more and longer than the hour that you give, or they want these little free tidbits, or they start to get a little bit lazy about recognizing what you both know, that you went above. And when you choose to be a person, I absolutely know I'm that person. When you choose to be a person that enjoys going above and beyond and giving the best of yourself, the moment, and believe me, I've learned it the hard way sometimes, that I start to see somebody being an energy thief or an emotional vampire, or wanting to Mary's kind, I'll get more. Yeah, I'll put a stop to it. I'll call them on it right away. Going, have you applied the insights that were you able to get that to be a workable thing for you? Was that something that was beneficial for you? Otherwise, you don't need to be ringing my phone and getting another reading at all. These people that give to us, it's not that we need to grovel and be beholden to them forever, but don't argue with them about their price. Do the best that you can do. And then know that whether it's that person, that job, or that situation, you get a better feeling, and I believe in a better karmic bank account credit by walking away knowing that I really, really gave from my heart and my professionalism and everything, and I sleep good at night because I know I did the right thing and I know I'm an ethical person. This planetary dance of Pisces is squaring off with Jupiter and Gemini, and we've got Venus and Aries. So Jupiter and Jupiter and Neptune are the rulers of the Piscean energy. So we've got this new moon by the morning, it's in alignment with Saturn and Pisces, and because they're getting at late degrees, Neptune will change to Aries at the last day of March, 31st, depending on where you live in the world. And we've got this energy of the Pisces shifting into the Aries, with Saturn will go into Aries, Neptune is going to go into Aries. Jupiter is in Gemini now. Pluto is bringing forth great truths at rapid fire speed and exposés. And we talked about this 3 months ago. I said, you watch with Pluto going into Aquarius when it settles into that. It's not been there for over 248 years. When Pluto fully settles into Aquarius, it's going to expose the nefarious. It's going to take people out and down, that have been in the need for greed. And even though they've been blessed, and even though they accomplished that relationship, that money, that job, that notoriety, when they get caught up in that greed machinery and more is never enough, then they're based in their ego, and that's going to be a false prophet in a sense. So it isn't that you need to let any prophet or any, well, I'll put air quotes on that, any so-called prophet or any psychic that says they see all and know all, or astrologer or a healer or pharmaceutical or whatever it is, going, here, take this pill, it'll fix you. No, stop. Pisces is about, it's an inside job. This is an internal sign. Jupiter and Gemini and Pluto and Aquarius with this are giving you extra sensory perceptions par excellence right now. Now, the problem with Jupiter and Gemini squaring all this Pisces energy, back to Joe's thing about, I'm going to dream a dream. I'm a dream weaver, and I'm going to look at myself in my dream world, in my out-of-body experiences, when I'm dancing, when I'm listening to music, when I see that animal totem show up. It's going to be like, oh, this is an extraordinary aha moment. First, give thanks. Thank you for the blessing. Thank you for the appearance of that animal and that wild creature and that dream that I had, and that answer, that revelatory answer, and then build on that, because Jupiter and Gemini will bring you something you've waited on for since your childhood, and all of a sudden Jupiter goes, bam, it happened. You didn't think it was going to happen. And Pluto in Aquarius says, yep, well, it's time. It's time in your lifetime right now. It has nothing to do with your biological age. It has to do with, here's your next lesson. Here's your ability to level up. Here's some karmic blessings. Yes, there is a whole basket of those. Here's your karmic blessings for all the times that you did it right and you did it ethical, and maybe that person didn't recognize it or that person returned the good karma, but it's been adding up, and here you go. That's the kind of energy that we're in March and April. We're going to have cleared from our slate that which has been potentially hindering us, and by our own actions too, slowing us down, getting in our way. And Jupiter and Gemini is an accelerant. Pluto and Aquarius is an accelerant. Aries is an accelerant. So we're shifting from a lot of earth and water elements into fire and air. And it's a 9-year, and this is a 9-degree new moon in Pisces. And so it's saying 9 in numerology is always saying, this is the top of this experience. This is the top of this cycle. So from here, you look back and you see everything and everyone, good, bad, ugly, beautiful, that we're all a part of creating the strength, the discernment, the ability that you have now to be who you are. All of those people, whether they lied to you, loved you better than you'd ever known thus far, at that, here comes the expansion of the good part of that. Here comes the part of you that was able to walk the coals of fire and to be able not to need always, the false prophets or somebody else to tell you what you want to hear. And instead you're looking for the chiropractors and the Reiki practitioners and the hairdressers and the astrologers and the wisdom teachers that really are sincere to say, you got this, but you're going to do the work. That's the balance of Virgo. You got to do the work. If your dietary habits are debilitating to you. If you're not doing the holistic agenda that would be best for you. We all know when we're being lazy, going, okay, I'm just going to grab that packet of food off the gas station shelf and just eat it because I'm hungry right now. Stop judging it. Just realize, okay, I had junk food. Now maybe I'd like to see how my machinery and my functioning is when I choose better for myself, for my body temple, for my mind. And you do have to apply that Virgo balance of discipline. Have I monitored my thoughts today? Am I continually breaking habits that are self-defeating to me? Am I addicted? am I at least willing to look at the fact that I've been leaning on that coffee or leaning on that pot or leaning on that alcohol as a walking cane, as a crutch, and okay, I did it, been there, done that. Why am I choosing to prioritize that and carry that forward to me as one of my tools in my toolbox? Don't slam yourself so much for it, but be willing to say, well, that's how I am when I do too much of that. That's how I am if I have too much sugar. That's how I am if I have too many prescription pills. That's how I am when I don't sleep. That's how I am if I take Xanax too much. That's how I am if I got to be stoned or I can't function. Yeah. So Pisces is also pharmaceutical. Pisces is also the need to escape. When the going gets tough, Pisces wants to either get an adrenaline rush or go to sleep.
Right.
It's like, no, I want the pain pill because I got.
Let's take this caller. I think they've been waiting for like 12 minutes. So it's
thank you, caller. Thank
801 area code. You're on the air. Who are you speaking with?
Hi, this is Utah.
How you doing?
And I have just been enjoying and taking it in. Thank you, Mary. Hi, Joe.
How you doing? How are you?
Okay. How are you, sir?
Thank you, Unique Utah. Unique Utah. I like that. Unique Utah.
Hi, Mary. You know, what you've said has been fundamentally correct. And after walking away and from a couple of, people actually, and things backing off and doing in more moderation have been a great tool. What do you see in given that I might need a little work on still? If you see something, please put me in. I would love to have something to work on.
Thank you. Thank you for your sincerity, and thank you for your recognition of the wisdom choices that Joe and I make, and Joe's various guests. It's certainly not just Joe and I, but I value the connection that Joe and I have and how our energies have always synced up nicely with the same purpose to allow ourselves to be blessed as well as other people. So I really appreciate the way you came in with your recognition and in your own personal journeys that you've been going through. So 2 cards fell out for you. And first I'm going to give you the elements. And we know Pisces is water. That's what we're all in right now, you and I and Joe and everybody listening on replay as well as live. So the water right now is the flow or the damming up of our feelings and our emotions, but it's also reflective. It's also not only what dreams may come, but as Joe pointed out, the dreams that we decided should happen with that place or that person or that house or that job journey. And instead what happened was it propelled us forward into, let's call it, an even more perfected dream, that we acquired skill sets when we realized something was working against us or something actually was a false faith in the progression of that dream that we've known since we were little ones, since our inner child is one of our great guardian wisdom teachers. So we're in Pisces right now, and that's cups in the tarot. And most oracle cards, when you get into the water signs of Pisces and Cancer and Scorpio, it's got to do with us looking at, how am I feeling lately? How am I doing inside? No matter whether the corners of my mouth are going up on my external appearances, exits, and entrances, what's really going on the inside? So one of your cards is the 6 of Cups. So it's in alignment in your immediate future with the blessings of the water elements, so waterfalls and the ocean and the gentle rain, and when we water our plants and our herbs, how they grow and they thrive, and the pools that we swim in, and all of that, the snow and the ice and all of that. So the 6 of Cups is about a new graduation that has to do with not our old wounded self, but our self that now appreciates our uniqueness, unique Utah, our uniqueness, our quirkiness, what gives us our ability just to throw our hands up at the sunrise or the sunset and go, oh my God, I love my Mother Earth. I want to be a freedom liberated child, whether I'm 80 or 45 or 22. And so the 6 is about building security in that as you show up, with what you do and who you hang with and who you find titillates you or builds that fire of desire, you're going to show up as you. You're going to show up as you. And you're going to be a little bit more bold in expressing the risk of your vulnerability to say, you know what, I really like that about you. I really admire that about you. And I just want you to know that I see that. And I think that's one of our compatible points as a friend, as a coworker, as potential whatever intimacy. I'm really drawn to that. So I like that about you. I think it's important that we tell people what we like about our experience with them instead of just assuming that if we're hanging out with them, they get it. So on the card, there's a male and a female, a yang and a yin, and there's white flowers, almost like jasmine blooms or star lily blooms, and they're in these golden chalices. And the older, the yang, the older biological male figure is gifting this beautiful golden, he's gifting, it's artistic, he's gifting her one of these beautiful blooming white flowers that's coming up out of the cup. And so if we look at the number 6, it's the lovers in the tarot and the major arcana. The number 6 in the suit of cups has to do with a realized and appreciated emotional congruency and emotional intelligence and emotional compatibility. So that's on the horizon. The other card, here we go, the other card is also a 6, and it's the 6 of Pentacles, which is like the 6 of diamonds. And Joe and I were just talking about, I used the example of the scales, the scales of Libra. And so here we have what they call the philanthropist or the generous donor, and that could be a spirit guide, it could be our sacred guardian angel, it could be, as Joe said, one of our guides showing up in a meditative process, open-eyed or closed-eyed, or in one of our dreams. And the philanthropist, the benefactor, has the scales, the golden scales up, and you just see 2 hands in this deck that I'm working with. I'm working with the Morgan Greer Tarot deck tonight, for those that like to know. And so he's weighed the options of how much of the alms or the tithe spiritually he's going to bless that person with. Imagine it's the genie that's come out of the golden lamp that's been rubbed, and the genie's like, I'm here, you did it, I'm going to make a wish. And that's always a part of Pisces, too. So he's giving extra. In the regular Rider-Waite deck, there's beggars, and the philanthropist has the scales, but he's giving them more gold, more alms, more talents than they expected, and they're looking up in awe. You know, here's the wealthier person, the benefactor, gifting those beggars on the street in that deck, giving them more than what they expected. So 2 6s has a lot to do with you are already grateful for whatever you've gone through, that you have built a strong, not an armor that's on the offensive, that you've now built your inner golden armor, your spiritual shields, that you love yourself enough that you're going to now be yourself and admire the qualities that you are compatible with, and you're not going to shut yourself down or hold yourself back or be overly bougie or needy with someone. A lot of times when we've been hurt, or our vulnerability kind of got us into some quicksand by our own measure, as well as them not playing fair, in a sense, in the playground, that we tend to kind of burn it too fast in the beginning. It's like, they're probably going to leave me anyway, so I'm going to have great sex, and I'm going to, like, really just be wild, and I'm going to thrill them and all this. But we're actually, in our back of our mind, if we're honest, we're saying, I wonder if they'll go away. So I'm just going to grab the best of it from the beginning, and I'm just going to blaze a bonfire in the beginning. So I think what these 2 cards are saying to you is you can approach it in the gentle, curious, whimsical way that you are, you know, like a magician, you know, like a belly dancer or a magician or someone that knows that they're enchanting, but at the same time, they don't have to overprove it. They don't have to show all of their talents and gifts in the beginning, in a sense, because if I don't give them everything that I am, they might get bored with me and walk away. No, they might take too much from you because from the very beginning you overgave. So it's not a judgment. It's just about a strategy. So apparently you've landed in a place that you are more secure within yourself with family. You're more secure to speak up when you need to speak up. And I think a bigger part of having emotional wisdom, emotional intelligence, is all the times that we could say, well, I don't agree with that, or I'm tired of you saying that about me. I think it comes from a deep soul wellspring intelligence to be able to know that you've barked about it before, and there's those times where you just don't say anything, but you still set your boundaries that you're going to set anyway. There's no need to argue with them anymore. You're just going to keep doing you and being you.
Thank you. Yes. And, what you get is what you get. And, like, it's like your filter gets yanked. And as long as you are true to yourself, keep it yanked, because you're right. It is like, I'm pretty quirky. And I'm just so okay with it that thank you very much.
Thanks for calling. Good call.
It's an appreciated awareness. So don't downplay all the steps that it took for you to be able to say, I don't have to push my quirkiness. I don't even have to define it at times. I'm unique and I'm going to stand on that, but I don't expect them to have to be quirky or them. Sometimes people say, well, it's the same old, and it's kind of like a boring relationship. Is it? Sometimes the person that's steady, sometimes the person that you can count on that isn't an adrenaline junkie, that doesn't have to always be, in the passing gear all the time. Sometimes that's a nice anchor in our life emotionally. If they let you be you and you're fair with them, I don't think that's boring. I think that builds a different level of security because they're predictable and they're not going to surprise you and pull the rug out from under your feet, because they're steady. They're the rocks in your life. They're who they are, but they're appreciative of who you are. And I think they say opposites attract. I think that's one case where opposites can attract a lot. They don't need to keep secrets from each other, in other words.
Great call. Thanks for calling. So it's 501-777-5631. The phone lines are open. And I think, I don't know, I think that's a pretty good message, honestly. Another thing that I've realized too of this Pisces energy is, 42 now, Mary, and that doesn't mean much, but what you're saying about 80 years, the more that I've really, because I've spent a ton of time alone, right? Even between jobs, relationships in my life, I can't just hop from one thing to another. I sit by myself for a while. And what I've realized is this Pisces energy, as much as I think I know, I really don't know. We really got to get to know ourselves. I mean, I don't mean like our human selves and how we interact with the world. I mean, get to know your soul self and figure out what's the problem? Why do these cycles keep happening? Because you're not listening. You don't really know who you are. You think you do. Right. But you got to dig deeper. If you dig deep enough, you'll start finding answers to all this stuff. Well, why this dream didn't work out, why this relationship didn't work out. I had this big dream. I had all this stuff that I really want to manifest, and it just feels like it betrayed me or whatever. But in the end, if you were really listening to your soul, it was warning you the whole time. Anyways, it was trying to take you somewhere else. But then again, like a parent, if it sees that you really want something, it's going to step back and go, okay, well, we'll give them this, but this is what's going to happen. The higher self is funny like that. I think, it'll let you get your own way if you want, but it's really not what your true heart desires sometimes.
Have it your way.
That's
right. And I kind of try to put the word Pisces. I like all the signs that open up the great benefit without complicating astrology is I allow myself to let that flower, that I'm letting the Piscean flower bloom for me. So to me, Pisces, wherever it is in my chart, even if I don't have any planets in Pisces, Pisces is here to say, I'm what's blooming on the galactic starry wheel right now. I'm Pisces, and hi, it's my Pisces time. And so I try to prioritize Pisces. So I try to say to Pisces, oh, beautiful dream weaver, oh, great the parts of me that want to escape, the parts of me that want to trip the light fantastic, the parts of me of how I am when I'm stoned, the parts of me are the richest parts of me when I am absolutely ecstatic, spiritually or orgasmic. I've had those orgasmic experiences in my mind and in my physical body, that whole wow wowza epiphany experience is also the higher octave of Pisces. So you want to welcome that. You want to say to Spirit, you can do me. Spirit, you can reveal to me. It's our God gives us free will. So I think our mental, our thought, our belief, our word manifestation, whether it's our external words, our prayers, our affirmations, or our inner self-talk, this is a good cycle to say, I give thanks that what needs to be a course correction for my higher, greater good, as you say, Joe, my soul star, my diving deeper into myself. I just want to give thanks. I'm up for the journey. I'll accept the lessons. My little inner child doesn't have to be scared, and my adult self doesn't need to be skeptical if I just first give command to the Almighty I Am, the all that is, the lights of love. Thank you for being my ultimate directors and teachers. And so therefore the people that come into my life in Pisces as clients or friends or spontaneous experiences, Pisces, this whole cycle that starts, on that 20th, 21st of February on into March, it'll be March 20th of this year that Aries starts. This is a very mystical, we're like going multidimensionally. This is the dream that's dreaming us. We're actually walking in the forest of possibilities. We're walking the medicine path. The ceremonial fire is our breath. And our physical movement, we're literally being guided with all the ancestors and angels that love us. So the more that we can say, I don't have to be afraid, there is no darkness because it's Pisces time. Pisces is blooming. All I need to do is be honest and to thine own self be true, and be true about, I feel the priorities of my wellness capabilities right now with Pisces is to let Spirit dance chance through me. But I'm going to let Spirit direct it. I'm going to say to my ego, it's Pisces. You get to get active in Aries. This is Pisces. So I want Pisces to let the magic pumpkin happen. Yeah, I'm gonna let it happen. I'm gonna go to the ball. I can be home by midnight, and I can look behind the curtain and see it's just a wizard and the Wizard of Oz. And I can understand that there might be a resident alien, which is a good series on Netflix, by the way. I can understand that we come from different worlds. We're different creatures, and we're going to teach each other mutual things by standing firm on what our core soul level is. And that's the ultimate compatibility.
Isn't there's some planets like Venus? When I pulled up the chart, there's Pisces in a lot of planets, and isn't it?
Yes, there is. Yeah.
Venus kind of moving backwards, though.
Yeah. Venus is going to retrograde. And she's in Aries, and she's going to back up into Pisces. And I think it's like mid-April that she finally gets her. There's a long time. I think it's like 40 days and 40 nights that Venus does her retrograde dance. And so let me give it to you straight, because astrologers are supposed to give you those kind of things. So let me answer the question in the way that we astrologers are supposed to answer that, to be ethical. So Venus is retrograding March 2nd, depending on where you believe. So we're knocking at the door of that. February only has 28 days this year. So on March 2nd, Venus will retrograde at 10 degrees of Aries, and because she's retrograde, she'll back into the Antarctic degree, the 29th degree of Pisces, which is very powerful, on the 28th, 1 month from, it's at, when we get to midnight, 1 month from, like right now when we're speaking over this 27th, 28th of February, she will back into Pisces. She'll turn direct at mid-April. She'll turn direct around the 13th, 14th of April, and then she won't get back into the sign that she's in right now. So it's a longer lesson in Aries. It's what she's doing. It's the Pisces. Venus is happy in the sign of Pisces. She won't get back into Aries until the last day of April, first day of May. So
I just think
with
that
our finance.
But when I'm looking at this, what I feel is I think it's not a time to go reaching for something else out there that's going to make me happy, right? I think it's kind of hiding, and not, I'm going to go jump into another relationship before I leave this one, or I'm going to, that food's going to fix everything, or this course is going to fix it, or it's almost like it seems like it's forcing you to do the internal work.
Yeah, those fear predictions. Oh my God, they've got my anxiety up again. Now Venus, she's retrograding in Aries, but what she's retrograding in Aries is with all these planets in Pisces, the North Node and Saturn and Neptune and the Sun and the Moon now, because they're marrying in the sign of Pisces. The asteroid Ceres is in Pisces. So all the Pisces is saying, we would like you to be a script writer, and we would like you to go ahead and put pen to paper or in your mind, say in your mind, as Robert Monroe says, what is the dream that feels right to you now? How would you write the dream? If you have already given control and the direction to the almighty I am forces, the high angels, that which is meant to be, and higher, greater good for all, if you've accepted that you don't need to be the damn control freak all the time. Well, I got to do this, and they better do this. And, you don't have to try to direct and control every stanza and movement of the song. Instead, you just let the song move over you. You dance and you let yourself become into the experience, both internally and externally. Pisces is saying, hey, I got a revelation or two for you. And by the way, you're very psychic right now. So don't doubt it. Jot it down. Write down what your dreams are. Look for the congruent repeating themes and messages. And don't be hard on yourself. If Spirit is saying to yourself, listen, for a lot of years in your life, this worked, and now it's not going to. Can you accept that? If you give us the direction of how we can move you further, deeper, closer into what brings you resplendent joy and a harmony in this particular one of your summers of your life of 2025, would you just try it and let go more of the dependency and the addictions, and let us move you into the flow, and let us move you into more wellness and more holistic ways of approaching people, places, and things in your life? There's a healthy way to do this. Pisces is always saying, don't avoid doing it in the best, do the course correction, do the discipline. Virgo requires the discipline, so maybe we do need to do a mental discipline of like, okay, I'm getting ready to go to sleep. What were 3 things that I was grateful for today? I don't care if it's like, I'm grateful I didn't piss my pants. Whatever it is, I'm grateful that my hair looked okay today. Make it simple, but start finding, I'm grateful that they had crackers on sale today. But make it simple. My dog didn't get hit when it got off the leash. 3 things that you just say out loud. This I'm thankful for, that I'm grateful for, and you'll start to find that really being thankful is a superpower. It beats the hell out of being critical, self-critical, critical of others, bitching and moaning and whining about the same old all the time. Energy is energy. And I'm telling you, what we put our focus into, where we pay, P-A-Y, what we're paying attention to, we're putting our energy, it's a currency. We're putting our energy into that. And if you're always looking at what didn't happen and the negativity and judging others or getting wounded by others judging you,
the grass
you're
is
giving
greener.
that too much.
It sucks over here, so I'm going to go to this greener grass. I'm not going to go inside and do anything. I'm just going to go get that shiny object or get that greener grass or do what makes me feel better. And you just keep cycling and cycling and cycling. And like really, when you tap into your true self, like momentarily, we do it some moments, and this by how happy you're making others.
Yeah.
You know it.
Absolutely.
Like, by how much love others are feeling, how much stuff you are bringing into other people's life, regardless of who did what to you. Like that's what your soul wants to do, man. Is it wants to connect. It wants to get that entropy to lower. How can I help? And you'll find that the way you can help, your soul will find its greatest glory in that. You'll be happier than you've ever been. Matter of fact, most of the happiest people I've ever met are helpful people. Like they just help others. That's it.
Well, if you look at the word forgive, if you look at forgiving, it isn't just, the biblical sense of doing and acting, as what would a Christian do. But forgiving is about what are you giving forth? What are you giving? If someone continually, 3 strikes are out. If somebody continually is not treating you with ethics and respect, it's your job spiritually to move away from being disrespected or abused in any kind of way. You say to them,
that's a given.
I don't like that. Yeah, right. Okay, given. So we've got to be forthcoming, and we've got to be forgiving as our actions, not words. Our actions need to show people, I'm going to teach you how to treat me. That works. This doesn't. And I'm not going to hang out with you to try to change you or prove you wrong and me right. I'm just that. When you do that, I'm not there. When we do this, and it's a win-win, then it's like you said, Joe. It's a way that we're celebrating life, and I believe that that's what it is. What energy are we giving permission to? Where are we denying ourselves, and where are we holding our own selves back? When we should, I think you're right. We first have to forgive our own self. We have to forgive. We have to be able to give our faith, to give permission, to be a winner, to go on the trip or try something new, get the shiny object from time to time. But when I intuitively get, listen, you need to go to that store over there because there's something there calling to you. And it's amazing how I'll go there and there's like something for literally that was $30 and it's $2.99. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And I get it. And then there's something over there that makes me think of a person or something. Like, oh, look at that. And because I can get like these two wonderful, amazing things that were once $30 and $40, and just because they're having a sale and moving in spring product, now it's $4.99 and $3.99. Yep, I have it to give, and I'm going to do that. And there's been many times I've spent more on postage to send something out than the actual item cost, but yet it once was, by the eyes that see, the third dimensional eyes, it was once $45 or $50 or whatever it was. And it was like, how cool is that I was able to afford that and gift it, something to myself, shiny object, as you said, Joe, because I deserve it. And we've also got to give to ourselves, give ourselves that luxurious meal, give ourselves that trip or that drive, and give ourselves the ability, even though we doubt ourselves, to go visit that person or do that job and come back and say, I did it. I was hesitant, I had anxiety, I was sleepless about it, but I was a little bit scared, as we say in the mountains, but I went ahead and I did it, and I'm better and wiser for it. Yeah, it's important. It's important to kind of get outside our own boxes.
Yeah, when you know
we get in them.
When you know yourself in that sense, you won't have to be on the defensive all the time. You just say no, thank you, and you just move on. That's it.
That's exactly right. Thank you for the opportunity. It's not a timing for me right now, but man, that's a great offer. Thank you for that. That's so generous. Thank you for that. It's not aligning right now for my schedule and my obligations, but wow, thank you. That was very generous of you, and I appreciate you. And I'm sure when it's right, we'll connect. We'll connect.
That's another thing too. A lot of people like the Ari's talking about. Let's talk monarchy. Let's listen. All of that, let's talk conspiracy. You don't have to worry about the frauds being revealed. I can assure you.
Right.
This whole thing that's happening right now is alchemy that's happening. So authenticity, your soul, love, all that stuff is coming through. You don't have to worry about controlling all that or finding who's lying to you or who's out to get you. All that stuff is going to happen. It's going to happen when it happens, and the truth, I know it's cliche, but the truth will rise to the top. And it's already starting to happen now.
Yep. It is. It is. I have a very good feeling about the direction of Pluto and Aquarius and Jupiter and Gemini, and come like mid-June, I think it is. I may have that date wrong, astrologer, so I'm not looking at June right now. I mean, I am for myself and clients, but not right now. That Jupiter's going to shift into the sign of Cancer. Jupiter's happy in Cancer, but right now it can tend to have in Gemini with this Piscean challenge. And again, in September, we have to watch for when we have that Pisces full moon that we get at odds with the Virgo part of ourselves, that we get into overthinking it, overanalyzing it, getting anxious about what if this and what if that. That's the Virgo challenge. So that Pisces Virgo axis right now, when you look at the charts of what's going on, because right now, this new moon, lunation, when you look at the chart, this new moon where the sun and moon are a union in Pisces with these other planets is tied to the full moon in September, the full moon that will rise in the sign of Pisces. And the full moon in Pisces can't happen until the sun is moving through the sign of Virgo. So we're in each one of these axis points, like we're going to have, when we get to September 7th, we're going to have the full moon in Pisces, and it's going to be a lunar eclipse. It's going to be at 15 degrees. There's a 1 and a 5. There's our 6 again. So we're kind of like getting beyond the devil inside of us. We're kind of getting beyond that which tempts us, how we get tempted, because 15, if you look at the cards in the tarot with the numbers, when you start to line up, it's how is materialism leashing me or taunting me. So between now, this Piscean, February 27th, new moon is tied to the full moon in Pisces. It'll happen at the end of the first week of September. And then when we get to the solar eclipse of September 20th, 21st, in 29 degrees of Virgo, that's the new moon where the sun and the moon will marry in the sign of Virgo. So we've got we can have a very gentle, productive, prosperous course correction if we, like Joe said, if we dive deeper within ourselves and take the Piscean medicine and we take the time to focus, what is your soul suggesting, urging, quietly hugging you to do? And you know what? It's okay to take time for yourself. Sometimes Pisces says, you can also just be a human being. You don't have to be doing all the time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think Venus is kind of sitting back a little bit going, all right, there's some soul work that needs to be done. We can do all the pleasure and happiness and the feel good and the shiny object stuff. That's part of being human. We get to experience that while we're here. But we can't let it keep us from really discovering this I amness that we're supposed to be. And when we don't do that, we just cycle. And that's how alchemy works. We just cycle over and over and over again until we figure out what it really is. This is where wisdom comes in. This way, you see more elderly people, once they realize who they are, they kind of get stubborn about it too, but they realize lots of things. That's why there's wisdom in the elderly folk, right? But I'm not saying you got to be old to figure this out, but all the stuff that's happening to you that you think is happening to you, the treachery, the betrayals, the conspiracy, all this stuff is happening because alchemy's taking place. There's a social atmosphere of unconscious beings everywhere. That's not going to go away. Yes. And there's also planetary and star energies that have been happening to us since the beginning of time. It's the oldest religion, period. It's underneath all religions. Yep. It's been happening to us since the beginning of time. And you got to do the soul work. You got to grow your soul. And if you don't want to do the work, you're going to suffer the cycles. That's how it works. That's
Absolutely. In every garden, there's weeds, and you can add nutrients to the soil. There's weeds, some things that people call weeds, like dandelions. They have a lot of nutritional holistic benefits, so especially if you don't use, the dangerous toxic pesticides on them. So glyphosate, Roundup, things like that. So if you weed and feed your soul garden, but when you're doing a garden, when you're growing things, whether you're buying baby chicks now and getting ready to do a coop, if you're going to be planting, I plant herbs every year, and some, like you learn very quickly in the Old Farmer's Almanac, tomatoes only like to grow with certain things. They won't thrive if you plant them next to things that aren't compatible. Rosemary and lavender are wonderful nutritional oils for your cooking and your body, and they like to grow together, but they don't do well inside. They've got to have the air move around them. So these are alchemical sciences of the resins and the oils and the flower powers. And you plant geraniums in your flower boxes or outside. I make a mixture every year of lemongrass and geranium and atlas cedar, and I add that with a little witch hazel, and I have it in a spray bottle. I don't use chemicals on my dog. I don't have to buy the nasty chemicals for flea and tick control because I do their paws with the essential oil mixture that I dilute.
That stuff works
and I
too,
put
man.
on them, and I don't have to. Oh man, it does. Oh, listen, if I'm going to go outside, I'm mixing. I've got a geranium. I spray myself with the lemongrass, the cedar, and the geranium too. I'm ordering my oils now. And you don't have to make it really strong. But if you actually plant those red geraniums in hanging baskets or near your door, the ticks don't like them. The fleas and some of those predators that can come and wasps, I don't like them. They just don't like them. I grew citronella last year. It's got its own little funky smell, but instead of buying the oil, I went and I got a $4 plant from a big box store, and the citronella got to be like, God, 2 feet tall. and I set it right outside where I was out looking at the sunset and under the stars, and the mosquitoes didn't bother me because all I had to do was just rub the leaves of the citronella. You won't find a better hair oil than rosemary. So if you buy the plant and you just break off one of what they call those stems of those splines, and I put it in the conditioner of what I use, or if I don't use conditioner, I'll put it in the shampoo, and that rosemary oil comes off into the shampoo, and your hair will thicken, it'll shine, it grows faster, and bugs don't like it. They don't like it at all. So you don't get those little no-see-em and those gnats that bite you. And I don't wear commercial perfumes. I work with the oils that follow, just like the stars going around in their seasons. I work with the oils that fit, okay, now I'm coming from spring into summer. The snakes and the ticks and all that, they don't like those smells. So I spray my shoes. I spray my toes and my flip-flops. I spray the back of my hair, and I spray, from my feet up to my ankles. So I'm not going to startle a snake. We have copperheads in Tennessee.
Yeah, we got
I'm not
those
going to
here
startle
too.
a snake because they smell me. And it's just like, oh, no. Yeah, and my dog just holds her paws up like, hey. I do the bottom of her paws, and I do in between her little hairs in her toes, and I don't have predators and things. I don't have the horseflies. None of that stuff bothers me, and they're all at the lake and the mountains. Everything emerges here. The hummingbirds and the copperheads and all that starts to emerge in late March and April, and I do the Virgo discipline of getting my alchemical oils and scents ready to be able to blend with nature. And the pests and the things that want to bite and do what they need to do, they can go survive in the woods and do what they need to do. I'm not their snack, and neither is my dog. I don't want to bother them, and I'm going to do the right thing so they don't come and invade me.
Right. I got another phone caller for you, Mary. You ready?
Yes, sir.
I used what did I use on Leo? Because we were fighting those. He would get, I don't know how he does it, man, but he gets fleas sometimes. And it seems like a fight once you start fighting those things. And it broke out the essential oil, and it just killed him. That was it. Eggs and everything done.
Yeah.
So
you have to be careful with essential oils with pets.
Yeah.
Don't ever use tea tree. And the thing, but peppermint's another one I forgot to mention. That I mix them all up, and I do. Now I will tell you a natural way to work with the cats, because they can be sensitive like birds, is you buy the food grade diatomaceous earth. Like I just dusted all my cats' feet and their bellies and put a little bit in their ears. So you don't get that flea outbreak, is I get the food grade diatomaceous earth, and I put it in my hands, and I dust their hair like you rub it backwards, and it dehydrates. The fleas can't stay there. It dehydrates them. Yeah, and it's cheap.
What
cheap,
is that?
And it's natural, and it works.
Will you send me that? What that is? Yeah.
I will.
Later.
Absolutely,
I mean,
absolutely.
We're getting off track here, but yes.
Just here's what you have to remember. You have to remember to only buy the food grade. Yeah, you have to remember just to get the food grade, because the other can be a little toxic for humans or animals. But I'll send it to you. Yeah, it's food grade DE. Any food farm co-op store has it, but make sure you look on that. Walmart even has it. Look on that bag. It has to say food grade. But I'll send you the link, Joe. And that way you can put it in your Telegram or on the Fringe.fm, so we can all save money and do something non-toxic with ourselves and pets.
Yeah, he's getting old. I worry about him too. Let's see, 216 area code. You're on the air. Who are we speaking with? 216.
Hi, Mary and Joe. It's Monica from Ohio. How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Blessings, Monica.
Yeah, of course. It's hi, Mary. It's my month. Of course, I'm a Piscean looking for some peace. I've been doing a lot
Happy
of work
birthday.
and trying to, just, stop the toxicity, and I just need to know if I'm on the right path and what I'm doing. And by the way, Mary, I'm glad I take this, because I'm all into the natural stuff, and I love my puppos, and just try to stay away from all the toxic stuff with them.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Monica. Spirit told me to ask you, what would Monica be able to announce the best part of what you have, because you have? What would Monica? What's the first thing that comes to Monica's mind with the work that she's done thus far, the alchemy, the personal growth, the setting boundaries, the removing toxicity, to use your words? What's the one thing that Monica is happy about or proud about that she has already accomplished and put into practice thus far?
Wow, I love that. Um,
Yeah.
I think I have.
And it isn't that you have to answer.
I think I have.
And it isn't that you have to answer.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. It's cool. Yeah. That's a
You-
great. I mean, that's great.
You
comment.
can.
Yeah.
You can.
Well, I was looking
You
forward
can,
to the
but
answer,
I'm not
but you don't
asking.
have to.
No, she can't. No, she can. She can answer absolutely. I wanted her to say that she could answer it in a veiled way, that she didn't have to reveal too much intimate details. But what strength? What have you arrived at that you're like, wow, I did it. It's just I did the alchemical work. I applied myself. It was tough. It was rough and tumble, but I did it. What can you already applaud? Where the point is before I tell you your card.
Well,
What can you already see?
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, that's it. Go ahead, answer.
It was kind of a power that I didn't feel within myself, that I kind of actually stood by myself for once. Maybe that's it in a nutshell, without being really personal about it. But I feel like I stood by what I believed in.
Nice. That's a big one. That's a big one. That's right in the recipe of to thine own self be true. If we're not true with ourselves and we don't honor ourselves, how's anybody else going to do it if they're not sensing that we're strong with what we feel is right? The mighty and right, fighting the good fight kind of a thing. I don't have to, when I say fight, I don't mean an argument or a debate, but it's like I don't have to fight anymore when I know something is a right medicine for me. It's just like I stand on that. Like you said, I stood with myself. I went in. Mm-hmm.
I did. I felt a little pride.
And how's that feel, Monica?
Oh,
how's that feel that you got that strength?
It's kind of releasing, kind of releasing.
Yeah. That's what's important for the audience to hear. Okay, it was hard. I slipped and fell a few times. It was hard. I had toxicity, but you know what? I released it, and I have a reset, a recalibration, and release. I think that with the Pisces energy, one thing I always say to my Pisces clients is risk with all its possible, and scary clowns, risk is always better than regret.
Hell yeah. I'm with that. Someone should get a T-shirt that has that on it.
I would like that one.
Risk is do it, Joe. Risk is better than regret. I mean, it can be that short. Risk is always better than regret. As far as if the energy is going to really encompass you, I'd rather the risk energy around me than regret, because regret's it's a deep cut. So the card that you got is the number 3. It's in the major arcana and the major triumphs. It's the Empress, and she's in the Morgan Greer deck. And the reason I mention that is all these different decks have different artworks rather than used to. Most of the traditional decks went off of the Pamela Coleman Smith and the Rider-Waite deck as an outline, as a basis. I still work with that deck, and that's still my favorite deck, but I have a lot of other decks. But that's my core teaching, and I like teaching from it. The Empress on this deck, she has a crescent moon with a pomegranate. Could be a hint that pomegranate fruits or juice is very beneficial for your system right now. She has a crescent moon. She has a really pretty teal blue color on of shoes and a sash, and she's got the pomegranate down by her right foot, so that's future. That's the path forward. Her shield that she's holding, it's one of the old kind of like medieval Renaissance-y kind of shields of the eagle that's got its wings up and its legs are out, and it's holding the arrows, so it fights the good fight. It's a freedom fighter. She has the Buddhist lotus lily up in her right hand, so she's real active on the right side artistically in this card. So the right path or going forward, or the yang immediate future part of you, it's very determined, very focused. And in the center of her neck, coming down her chest, she has the red heart in between her breasts with the white cross coming up, which is a lot of the symbology of the Ace of Cups. And she's got a waterfall and lush evergreens all around her. So the Empress is a card that has a lot of Venusian energy. Like in the Rider-Waite deck, you'll see the symbol of Venus on the card. She has a bright yellow shield with the eagle the red-orange eagle on it. So she's got like where East meets West. She's got the 8 precepts of Buddhism with the lotus flower. She's got the eagle of Scorpio. The eagle on the medicine wheel is the ascendant. It's the East. It's great spirit, new births, new beginnings, forging ahead. So this is like a turning and walking forward kind of a card. She's out in nature. It's lush, and she's very, very much content, as we were talking about in this first hour, with herself, within herself. A lot of people act like they're happy. On the outside and inside, there's a raging storm. So what you're achieving is the ability to do the alchemy, the right kind of medicines that it puts you at peace internally because you made the effort, like you talked about your puppos. You know, when we do these natural things of diatomaceous earth and the oils and things, we also feel good that as the guardian of our animals, as the Leo, the older cat, we're doing safer things for them. They picked us. That we're like the guardian earth angels for them. So they picked us. They hang with us. They tend to have shorter summers than humans average 80, 85 summers. So it's important. It's important that we first prioritize them. It's one of the things I'm grateful for every day. I thank my dog. I thank my cats, and the ones that are my domestic ones versus what shows up outside. And I say, thank you for choosing me. Thank you for how you alchemized and came into my life. You are a great medicine, and I will do right by you. And forgive me when I get busy. I need to pet you, and I need to thank you. Thank you for sleeping with me. Thank you for guarding me. And thank you, whimsical cats, for like being so independent. You're like, hey, you know, but it's that touch factor. It's like we don't just brush them off. You know, we take care of them, we feed them, protect them, but you've also got to let that alchemy happen of the touch between the two interdimensional creatures.
Right. I agree with that, 100%. I feel good about it. I appreciate you.
Good. And thank you for the work that you're doing. You know, Monica, all the work that you're doing on yourself.
It's not always an easy ride lately, but it's you know, I still cry about it sometimes, but it's worth.
That's okay.
What it's doing for me.
Yeah, well, that's good for you. I mean, that's such a good thing. Like most of us, I think it's in our human nature that when we start falling into a ditch or we fall into a well or however you want to say it, we want something to pull us out. And I don't mean like, you know, literally. Yeah. I mean, we just need that feeling. Pull me out, something pull me out, make me feel better, pull me out, you know. And eventually the only way to fix it is to go all the way to the bottom of the ocean, the ditch, the well. Like get down there and see what's going on. And it sucks sometimes, but it's so worth it.
It does.
In the end.
Yeah, it is. I think I'm on my way up. You know, like I said, I got the pride that I stick behind myself, and I think that gave me a little bit of to keep going with it. You know, I mean, it's important. The peace inside means so much more than the bullshit.
Yeah, you conquered it.
Well said.
Very good. Thanks for the call. Thanks for sharing it with us.
Thanks, Monica. Happy birthday, Pisces.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See, that's what I'm talking about, right? Sometimes things are hard on the front, but that they get so much easier on the end, right? Isn't that kind of the way? It doesn't have to work that way all the time, but it definitely works that way in nature. If you put in the effort, you get the reward, you know?
Well, it's even when you think about prison reform, Joe, because Pisces rules any and all institutions or places of correction. So it includes hospitals, physical rehab, prisons, drug rehab. It has to do with how we rise back up once we've been in the underbelly of an addiction or an accident or broke something on the physical temple or broke down mentally. It's that rise back up, or as they say, you know, get back up in the saddle again. But that's a whole process. That's a whole process of emerging from who you allowed yourself to become dependent or toxic. And then you see the value, although it takes a lot more work to detox and get off the substance abuse and all of that. But it's so honorable, and you automatically become a walking witness that can testify in the earth while you're on the earth to say, yep, did that, been there, done that, broke myself, broke others. I got to actually, it's like Johnny Cash, rest in peace. Johnny Cash is a famous Pisces singer. And when you start to really look at the lyrics of his songs, when you start to, he always wore black. He always was, he was in prison. He went along some wild roads, found the true love of his life, June Carter Cash. And so Johnny Cash, when you look at the signs, try to look at some of the singers or the writers or the artists of that particular sign that was strong in their chart. And Johnny Cash came to my mind with it. There was at the Super Bowl this year, there was a commercial. It was some type of a Christian commercial, and it's got like a He Sees or something like that, but they used Johnny Cash and one of the songs that he did, and I'm like, wow. Johnny Cash came back literally from the dead and is having a resurrection with what he wrote as an artist and how the songs and how it's leaning into, my physical body might not be on the earth anymore, but let me tell you stuff, I'm still speaking the truth. I'm testifying and bearing witness as one who can sing and still be alive beyond the grave. It was amazing. And I actually went to YouTube and looked up the Super Bowl commercial with the Johnny Cash song. And I didn't remember hearing that song. And you can just type in Super Bowl 2025, the Johnny Cash song, and it's like, whoa. And just find the one with the lyrics and just let it play. I think it's He Sees You. It's something like that, He Sees You. Play the Super Bowl commercial and those hauntingly resurrecting faces. It's like a quick compilation of people that have been down and out with Johnny Cash singing in the background. It's like, man, that my soul rocked in a good way on that one. It was like immediately satisfying in a sense of, it's all worth it. All the work is worth it. Keep on keeping on.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's 501-777-5631. I've struggled with Pisces energy my whole life, honestly, Mary. But the older I get, the more I'm coming to kind of understand what it's all about. It's a 12th house energy too. Some people do pretty good there. Some people don't, but it doesn't matter. It's not a comparison thing. Like at the end of the day, none of this has to do with what other people think is right for you or what thing is going to make you feel better or any of that stuff. It's like, man, it always goes back to the child in you, that dreamer in you, that child that looked forward to the future. Absolutely. That was full of love and life and wanted to be around people and help people. And that's still who you are. That's still who you are. That's the core of who you are. Yeah. So that's the core of who you are. You can't let anything take that away from you. Nothing.
That's the soul seed of light. It's the seed of light. And that's a good point you brought up about the 12th house. The 12th house, to me, as an astrological guide, the 12th house and the 8th house, to me, are the most mystery-filled houses. And it's the natural sign of Pisces, the natural sign of Scorpio the 8th, Pisces the 12th. But for now, right now, when the sun and the planets are dancing strong in Pisces, it's the sign before Aries. So when Joe said it's my 12th house, any of you that are Aries, I was just reading about someone that's an Aries online that was married to an Aries online, and that we're talking about, here's those cycles again, for the last 18 years, here's the nodes have not been, so when we go back to 2007 and 2008, 2007 going into 2008, it's the last time that the node was in Pisces, the North Node was in Pisces, so the lessons that we're all being presented with now are new course description, and so for Aries right now, Pisces is I'm in the birth canal. I'm in the process of rebirthing. I'm in a cycle of transcendence. I am literally being transformed. I am both the caterpillar, the cocoon, and the emerging butterfly. So for Aries, when we get to March 20th, and the sun and various planets the faster moving planets, Venus is already in Aries right now. So Aries right now, this year, in 2025, have a little bit of a boost of Venus already being into Aries, because Venus blesses the sign that she's in. She's not strong in Aries. She's strong in Libra. So what she's doing is she's pulling the energy, the polarity of Libra out while she's in the sign of Aries. So what she's saying is be more loving, first with yourself, also with the core people that are orbiting around you this lifetime, your karmic connections, your soul connections that afforded you life, the seed of the father, the womb of the mother. But Aries, literally, male or female, Aries right now, no matter what their age, are in that cycle of reckoning, of rebirthing. And so whenever we're involved in a new birth, there's a labor before the birth. So there is a type of longing and laboring and preparation going on with you, Aries, that has to do with the fact that Pisces is saying, and what is it that you'd like to not have to see or look at quite so much as your main curriculum, as your main way that you get taught things this lifetime as you go into your new year of 2025. Once the sun gets into Aries on March the 20th, that starts the month-long cycle of Aries being the 12th house for the sign of Taurus. So each time we change signs, the sign before your sign, and when the sun and the new moon happen there, that's your 12th house.
Gotcha. Okay. If you can, we got another phone caller here, 702 area code. Make sure that you're, hopefully I heard some background. Just make sure the radio's down or the phone's down. But 702 area code, who are you speaking with?
Hey, Joe, Mary, this is Dragon Rose.
What's up, Dragon Rose?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Doing great.
My birthday's coming up
Happy
in a couple
Pisces
of weeks.
Birthday,
so I thought,
Dragon Rose.
Thank you. I thought I would touch base with you, Mary, and see what Spirit has in store for me in the next few weeks.
Thank you, and thank you for being one of the good Pisces that really gets it that the spiritual path matters, even though there's bumps and grinds along the way. So, wow, another 6. The Lover's card has come up. Here we have the two adult, some cards have children, some have adults. So here we have the two adult selves, the ripe, mature adult selves, and the man is caressing the woman's chin in this particular artwork in the Morgan Greer deck, and there are calla lilies blooming all around them. They have their private place amongst the beautiful high grasses, and they're literally embracing each other with these calla lilies and like the cannas. You know how the canna flowers have the huge blooms that come up. It's one big single bloom usually on the stem like a sunflower. So the calla lily may be one of the canna, or the calla lily could be, it's white on this card, could be one of your like totem flowers, your medicine flower going forward with this birthday year. 6 is about building the security that matters, our spiritual security, our soul contentment. Certainly the Lover's card is about, I'm grateful to share time and space on the planet with someone that allows me to be me. It's a great gift, and I allow them. We hang out together, and we're a team kind of a thing. The card that fell out next to that is the 9 of Pentacles, or the 9 of Diamonds. And so this is a blessing way here, and this card has rich Piscean colors of the violets and the lavenders and the purples, and she has the grapes, the beautiful grapes that are part of the making of the wine or the mead, and she has a peacock resting up on her right shoulder. And so this has magentas and purples and lavenders, and the peacock has a lot to do with, it's okay for me to shine, and it's okay for me to, I love the way the Persians and the Egyptians talk about the medicine bird of the peacock. They call it the bird with 1,000 eyes, because the eyes are on the feathers as they shake and shimmy and flow those feathers up there. Even albino peacocks that I've been around in Florida, you can still, it's subtle, but you can still see that eye design. And the peacock, all the colors on a peacock are Piscean colors. They're Piscean colors. So I would say that the canna flower, or the calla lily, the white calla lily, that's your flower medicine. The 9, it is a 9 year that you're going to have protections around you in your material world. You don't have high expectations about needing to do the money dance, either plus or minus. You're good with what it is. You're grateful for how it is, and that's what will continue to let anything that's been a disruption or a blockage dissipate. And I feel like the peacock is the bird that speaks to you. So do that kind of thing. Like on X, they have Grok, and you can type in you can just type in on I use the search engine of the Lion Brave because I like lions, and I'll type in, what is the meaning of the peacock as my animal spiritual totem? And like 10 things will come up, So where Google kind of controls it, Brave or DuckDuckGo don't tend to do that. So you'll have different options come up, and as you just scan the choices, you'll know which one to click on. Heck, you can go to Pinterest and type in animal spirit totem meanings of the peacock, and you'll get all these great visuals. If these little memes, they actually look like little oracle cards will pop up on Pinterest. That's what I like about Pinterest. You can type in meaning of the peacock as my animal totem. It's amazing, the stuff you can find out, and you will feel it, ripple in your soul. And it may be that as you're starting your new year, your personal new year of Pisces, solar return of Pisces, going forward, you may actually go, oh, there we go, peacocks. You may encounter them in your travels and different places that you go. If you happen to, sometimes I like to go to a zoo, not because I like to see any animal contained. If it's safely rehabbed, that's fine. But I like to just walk through it. I know if I spend money, it feeds them. And so I like to just walk through very quietly away from the crowd and watch what are the top three. Sometimes it's just two or one. What's the animal speak? Is it a bird? Is it a reptile? What animal turns and looks at me that year when I'm at the zoo? Like we connect telepathically. So It's a great way to get out there in animal oracle cards and just experience it personally.
That sounds awesome. I'll have to check my animal speak book that you told me about and look it up there too.
Yes.
But I tell you,
Andrews.
if I see a peacock in the deserts of Nevada, that will be truly amazing.
Right.
But I will look into it.
Look at it. Look at it in art too. Look at it when you're traveling somewhere around the state. If all of a sudden you walk into a little cafe or you go into a casino and there's the peacock, they're there. That's on the wallpaper.
Might be a albino javelina.
When I get a totem, I look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mary. I appreciate you both. Yeah.
Thanks for your call, Dragon Rose.
All right. Take care, guys.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Blessings to you.
I went to, you know where St. Augustine, Florida is? Do you know where that is?
Yes.
On my way to Ohio, I stopped in St. Augustine. Supposedly, that's the oldest city in the United States, historically. I think it was discovered or something. I don't know. But they had peacocks all over that place. I mean,
did they?
When you go to the St. Augustine, they have a place that you can tour around and see the whole island where this captain, I forget his name, discovered it. And there are peacocks everywhere. And they don't care.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's not like when you go to the zoo, it's almost like they're in the wild, and they don't care. You can walk right by them, a foot from them, and they just look at you like you don't want to mess with them. You can tell, you don't really want to mess with them, but they're not going to mess with you, and they're damn proud of what they are. You can just tell.
It's a glamour. It's a glamour bird. It's got a rich regal history. Persia, Egypt, the whole Middle East, the peacock, India. It's a big deal. Peacock's a big deal. It's as powerful of a bird totem in the Middle Eastern countries over on the other side of the world is just like the scarab beetle is when you studied that with Egypt. It's a peacock is a really, really powerful totem to have. It doesn't show up for a lot of people. So the fact that you were walking in St. Augustine, and by the way, Pisces is the state, Florida was incorporated in the sign of Pisces. So the peacock, does roam in tropical areas like that. Like when all the years I lived in Florida, I would notice the ibis, IBIS bird, from my studies of the Egyptian Book of the Dead and all that. And I went back, I think it was 2008 or something. And I was at one of the beaches that I'd always gone to on the West Coast, since my early teens. And I'm looking and I'm like, oh my God, I think that's an ibis. It was pink ibis and it's real bright red bill. And so one of the maintenance workers on the beach was there, and I said, do you know what species of bird that is? I said, I think I know, but I don't want to be a know-it-all, so I thought I would ask. He goes, yeah, those just came the last 2 years. It's an ibis. I said, I thought that's what it was. And I was as amazed to see that bird and go, oh my God, an Egyptian ibis showed up. Again, Florida, tropical. There is the heat there. And then just as surprised as I am, there's a certain time in East Tennessee here that seagulls come. And I'm like, what? You know, I mean, it's like, it amazes me because there's no salt water here. You know, it's like mountain waters and things, and TVA controlled. And I mean, there's big Tennessee rivers, but I'm like, it's a seagull, and they'll go right to the grocery store parking lot. And I'm like, I remember you guys in Florida, yeah. I mean, seagulls, the ones like you see in California or South Carolina or Florida. And I'm like, hey guys, did you come up from Florida? It's like, what are you doing here? And sometimes even before winter hits, the seagulls are just right there. There's like 3 times a year they show up, and I'm like, how you doing, buddy? And if I bought crackers, all right, because the natives First Nations teachings, like you saw the peacocks, they teach you that if a very unusual happening of a bird or an animal happens, you know, seek to bless it with your silent prayers, or if you have a food offering, do it. You know, just do that. The other day, I was putting my black oil sunflower seeds, because everything in nature likes that in Tennessee, out, and the squirrels were scurrying, and the little chipmunks were scurrying, and all the songbirds were out because it's getting ready to be hummingbird season here in April. And all of a sudden, a bald eagle landed in the tree right outside of my house, and I'm thinking, oh boy. So I went out on the deck, and I'm like, wow, that's great spirit. You know, it's one of the eagles, the white-headed eagle with the yellow legs here in Tennessee, and its mate wasn't with it, but I'm like, oh, whoa. Because, you know, of course, it's opportunistic. It's going to hunt, and we're over like a little lake, and I'm like, wow, eagle came today. It was on Inauguration Day. The eagle came, because that's what I made the connection of, like, oh, my God, the eagle for the United States of America. So I thought that's got to be a good sign for our country. So that's very rare for me to actually see an eagle. I saw it one time when I lived in Western North Carolina, and it's like, whoa. I mean, you know, because of my Native American teachings and all the medicine wheel circles that I've been to and led, that's a big damn deal. So that's a big damn deal bird. When you've done your, like Dragon Rose was talking about, the medicine cards and all that, eagle's a big deal. It's one of the birds of Scorpio, and it's also one of the 4 royal stars in the Persian royal stars, the lion, Regulus, the heart of the lion, and there's Aquila, the eagle. So these things, like Joe was saying, the ancient artistic alchemy of the stars and the canopy above our head, of the river of stars and the dream lodge, and how we go through the river of stars to go to the longhouse and the dream lodge, so that our spirit is being fed the medicine and the healing of our ancestors and the star beings, and all that is a part of the as above, so below alchemy, the heaven to earth, on earth as it is in the heavens, to call that upon yourself. It's such a rich way to work with Piscean energy. I allow the bounty and the harmony of the heavens to literally breathe me and to be a part of my 3rd dimensional life here. Of anyone I encounter, it could be a passing encounter with the cashier at the grocery store, or when you're buying plants, but you are literally walking. When we're in Pisces, you're walking as both an oracle card yourself, encountering tarot cards or oracle cards or medicine card artistry. That's what it is. It's showing up for you literally in person, you know, with whatever creature it is, and the energy exchange is palatable, it's real, and it's instantaneously healing in that moment. It's like, whoa, kind of like Cupid's arrow. You know, it's just like the whole symbology of Valentine's Day and Cupid's arrow. You know, it's like, oh, I'm immediately smitten. That's what's going on when it's Pisces season for all signs. Pisces is the 12th sign. It's the one that encompasses all of the signs and says there's truth and there's medicine from Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. Pisces says, I'm the finish line of the solar year. So look back to last March, when the year began, the astrological year, the great turning of the wheel began in the 3rd week of March of 2024, because New Year's Eve is coming up. This new moon is the new moon for the New Year's Eve of eclipse seasoning opening up in March, the sun going into Aries on March 20th, and it is the time to prioritize, what do I want to dream into a reality in the type of people that I'm with, the type of relationship that we both can enjoy. How am I going to prioritize those alchemical energies and salute them and respect them, and also do the work to weed my garden of doubt and to weed my garden of fears and to pull those weeds out? And what spiritual practices will I do when I'm walking by the lake or looking at the trees, watching the songbirds build a nest, they're building a dream too.
Yeah.
And it's symbolic. The bluebirds are already building a nest. Yeah.
It's
So
a good time to
we're about
plant
to see the
a new seed, for sure.
It is. Oh, my God. Oh, it is. I
So-
feel like this moon, mystically, psychically, is the most powerful new moon of weaving a dream into actual manifested reality of all of the possible 12 new moons. I pay attention to Pisces energy. The Pisces full moon that comes up in September is one of my priority full moons, and the one that's called the Buddha moon, the one that happens in Scorpio. These are powerful water sign alchemical moons. And so for me,
I think everybody
regardless of what
should
I've got
really
in
do
my
this.
chart,
Like let go of any,
Yeah.
and I'm doing this myself. That's why I'm talking about it. So yes, I'm projecting. That's what we do. We project our light into the world.
Good.
So, what I'm saying is like, I heard Leo King talking about this too, and your message is really kind of close to his, but that's
Really?
awesome. Yeah. I mean, y'all are kind of saying the same things, but yours is a bit different. He was a bit more harsh. You're still talking about, like look, it's important to dream. If you don't dream, if you don't keep that childlike loving energy in you, that thing, if you don't protect it, harness it, get to know it, cherish it, make it sacred, no one else is going to do that for you. No one else is going to feed that dream. And without that
That's
dream, you'll get things like depression, anxiety, all kinds of things. So no matter what happens to you, I know it's a cliche thing, but you got to have a dream. But what I'm learning now is
Yes.
you also got to be able to trust your soul and let some
Yep.
dreams that you thought were supposed to come to manifest the way you saw them, and you tried to control it and you didn't pay attention to the flags, whatever it is. It was meant to happen that way so that it could die, and you can plant a seed for a new dream, a
Yep.
little bit more
That's right.
wiser dream.
That's
And
right.
the weeds, we can get mad about the weeds all day. There's a million videos talking about the weeds, but weeds are always there. You could go plant a seed anywhere and do all kinds, but the weeds just going to pop up. So you got to pull weeds and then nurture the garden. But without not knowing the seed to plant, like Pisces helps you get to know what is that seed, that dream that you really, when I talk to you about this stuff, Mary, when I say it's very, and I look at psychology, like when you talk to most people, you could say, well, it's pretty bad right now. Yeah, it's bad. Well, it can't get any worse. And everybody goes, oh, no, it can get worse. It can get worse. And they believe that. And even when I say it, I can feel the program. I know it can get worse. It can get real bad. But what we don't ask ourselves is like, this is a wide spectrum of alpha and omega. Like, how good can it get? See, we all get to that certain level.
Absolutely.
Where we get to that level where we go, no, it can't get that good. That's just unrealistic. Is that what you told yourself when you were a kid? Is that what your soul told yourself? Like, you got to trust your soul that things can be that good.
Right.
And be that, you can be that happy. It's possible.
Well, you look at what motivates us. The Pisces strength is faith.
Yeah, there
and
you go.
Faith, and I may be paraphrasing this a little bit incorrectly with how it's actually worded in this version or that of the Bible, but faith is the belief in things not yet seen.
Right.
So faith is a fuel. Faith is a fuel. It's right in the same genre as dreaming. Faith is a fuel. I believe in this because I've got a feeling. I've got an intuition. I feel spirit move around me. I feel the little goosebumps come up. I have a knowing about this. I can't give you all the reference about the knowing, but I have a knowing about this. There's something about this. When I've listened to all the interviews of people, like the guy that became a famous race car driver, even when he was a little kid and had brothers. He had brothers. He was the one that was into, Dad, we collected little Matchbox cars, or he was always he got a cardboard box and made a car out of it, and like he was wanting to take every kind of garden implement and use it as some kind of speed machine, so you can look back into your childhood and you can think about what was it you were pulled back from and what was it that you were leaning into it. But with Pisces, it's that determination. that I may not share it with everybody because I don't need it diluted, but faith is the belief in things not yet seen. It's how we summon up those mystical energies. It's how we summon up the alchemist. Instead of alchemy, we become the alchemist. We begin to realize that we're very much an integral part of how that whole medicine is happening, and part of the alchemy is also believing that we can let go of those childhood fears, the monster in the closet or the scary things under the bed, and we can let go of those things that want to taunt us and tempt us and haunt us away from the faith as a fuel that we have. We have to persevere. We have to keep putting one foot in front of the other. But when I see that sparkle of gold of how the faith is paid off and the wonderful, surprising thing happens, we tend to focus a little bit too much mentally on what did go off the rails, what did go wrong,
exactly.
what didn't happen. And I've shifted that. I've really shifted that over the last 2 to 3 years. The financial bank account might be exactly the same. It might be, not exactly where one would prefer it to be, but again, you have faith that you'll keep carrying on smartly. And I'm just like, I'm grateful. And all you have to do is look at any pictures of any war that's happening anywhere, any impoverished country, any impoverished city, any crime-ridden city, and you can immediately give thanks for, I may not have it all the way that I want it or everything that I want, but oh my God, I immediately see my blessings when I see someone that got crippled in war or an animal survived but it only has 3 legs. I mean, there's always something that will remind you that we all have challenges. We all have mountains to climb. We're all going to have to go over those hurdles. And the person that got, injured in war and got back up is so impressive to me. The crippled person that has crutches and can't walk across the intersection as fast as most humans.
Right.
If I see that in my car, I say, oh my God, there's a warrior
it's
right
like
there.
Gareth, right? He messages the show all the time. He has ALS, but you know what? I'm still trying to stay in touch with him. But he moved his finger, and he hasn't moved his finger in a long, long time. The doctors didn't know what's going on because it's supposed to get worse, this disease. You can hit a plateau, but it doesn't last this long. And then all of a sudden he could move his finger. And you know what I think it was all of you and all the people on the show and this whole energy. And I asked him, I said, man, what does your heart really want? And 2 big lessons that I learned that made me cry like a baby. One is you never know, just even the little things could light up somebody's life, right? But if you're focused on everything that's like hurting you, you'll never get that chance to light up that person's life. And the second is he started speaking into existence. Man, I really want to do this again. And it was very, very what his heart really wanted. I want to feel the warmth of a woman again. I want to play with my dog. I want to play video games again. I want to live, man. I want to live, right? And just the thought of it and just talking to us and all this other stuff. Next thing you know, his fingers moving, right? Like
glory.
Do we have to
glory, the fire of glory?
We don't have to be in Gareth's position to understand this. But if it wasn't for Gareth, I don't think I would have understood it. That guy is my hero, man. I've always, and I've told you this personally, I've always wanted a mentor. Never really had one. Never.
Yeah.
Don't know why.
Now you do.
Yeah.
Now you do.
Yeah. And
now you do. So that dream came true, and you're blessing Garrett, and he's blessing you, and the audience, all the teaching and all the lessons and all the updates and everything and all the love that we're sending to him, may anyone with any kind of conflicting challenge trust their heart, invite in the spiritual empowerment as the director of the course of their life. The one thing I like about Christianity and Buddhism together, in a sense, isn't who we worship, but that Buddhism is like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Let go of attachments. And Christianity is, the power of the risen Christ, the power of the Holy Ghost. And so to me, those that East can meet West in a sense of, if I'm not attached to the outcome, which is what the 8 precepts of Buddhism teach you, and I'm not a Buddhist, but I got a lot of value as a teaching from that with my ego. Buddhism teaches you to let go of the material world. You respect it, you give thanks for it, but it doesn't own you anymore. So my reading of Buddhism or Sufism or the Upanishads, the Hindu teachings, helped me break from the material world being my main teacher. Christianity and how I absolutely all the time declare, as I breathe, the Holy Spirit's in charge. As I choose, the Holy Ghost is the director. That's my alchemical system that works, and every single day it shows up for me and with me. And anytime, whether I let a person know it or not, that I say, Holy Spirit, be there, be in that moment, breathe them, be their medicine. I know it goes. I don't have to have the applause. I don't have to have the credit. I give thanks every day for my life and my ability to fully live it. But I give the control to the Holy Spirit, to the Almighty I Am forces, and that they are directing me to continue to be the best, better version of myself, and that I don't succumb to temptations or doubts or you could have done that better, and the people that get jealous of me or whatever. I'm totally not attached to that at all. It is not motivating. It's a waste of the time that I've got on this earth plane. Instead, I just give thanks for the light, and I give thanks for love always wins, and I believe that love and gratitude and faith are fuels, and that God gifted us with free will so that we can choose what is it that's going to be your fuel, what is it that's going to be your motivation. And when I hear stories about, like Garrett and other people many people that I know that were in the medical pharmaceutical world given, well, you've got this much time to live, and this is going to spread, and this grew, and all of that, I just say I rebuke that. I'm not attached to that. It is what it is. But I'm going to bless my life, and I'm going to course correct, and I'm going to give thanks for all of it, even a scary medical diagnosis that got me to this point, that got my attention to let me fully live and fully embrace and fully allow the holiest of hosts to come into me and direct the course. It is what it is, and I'll accept it.
And you are that you are, right? I am that I am. That's the thing. Like,
yeah, I am that I am.
I don't, and I know we got to wrap this up tonight, but I think like that's the biggest message, because people are like, well, the universe has something in store for me. The universe is doing this, and the universe, and it's like, yeah, but on the highest level, you are that you are. So it's really just you.
You're co-creator.
You're co-creating with it, but you're not. It's not doing anything to you. Hell, it even takes suggestions from you, but there is an alignment that it wants you to get into, and it's like, once you realize that, man, there's nothing outside of you that's really doing anything to you.
It's an inside job. And it's the supernatural gifts and forces that we were born with when life was breathed into us and we were animated and brought to life in this earthly body temple. There are all kinds of mysterious, the forces are there. The energy currency is there, whether we see it with our physical eyes. A lot of times it's what we feel that helps us to see more clearly. And the old statement, I'll believe it when I see it. A lot of times I say, what you believe is what you see. What you're believing is what you're going to see. So I believe that I believe that what we choose to be our priority investments of our heart and our soul's attention and our time that we put into it. I believe that's the best of Pisces. And this month with this planetary alignment that's going on, it's a big exclamation point in the fact to remind us that it's an inside job. It was an inside job when we were in the womb. It's an inside mystery from the heavenlies that life was breathed into us, and you and I are talking and listening at this point, regardless of our biological age or our construction zones or the obstructions that hit us. We're right here listening. We're right here participating. We're loving one another. We're sending healing to one another, and we are feeling And the part of weaving the dream true is that he's feeling, your friend Garrett's feeling, I want to feel the embrace of a woman, the warmth of a woman. I know, my dog, I want to be more in connection with my dog. Every stray dog or cat I've ever rescued or been dog is high medicine. Dogs are, they're overcrowded in shelters. My God, if you want to see your life get blessed quickly, get a dog. Go foster a dog, go adopt a dog, feed the dog on the street, do what you can, to help a dog in need, because they are walking masters on this planet. And the cats in our life, the stray cats or the crows or the birds, especially the cats, they teach you how to not be so dependent emotionally. But the cat will show up and it'll love you and it'll let you know it's right there. Even if it's like, I'm done with you now. I'm still here, but I'm done with you. I don't need you all the time. Give me my space. But a dog is just like, man, you're it. I don't care if you didn't shower today. I don't care if your breath is bad. Why do you even have to leave the house? Let's just hang out together.
Yeah.
So
and those are the things that do make you feel better. You. Yeah. That's what, that's but tangible. At the same time, please stop treating humans like those animals that you need to make you feel better. That's what the animals are there for.
Yeah.
That's their job. Yeah. They do a really good job. As long as we take care of them.
They really do. And it's true. And it's just like the dog's just like, I'm kind of hungry now. It'd be great if you fed me. But, you've got the flu. You're not feeling good. Okay, well, I'll lay on the couch with you. I'll do it. I'll fast. Yeah. I'll fast with you. But they do. The cats, they'll knock over things, knock things off the shelf. Like I said, damn it, it's time for you to go get me the damn dry cat food. I'll go out and get a bird. I don't care what you're doing. I said it. I mean, cats will revolt on you. Yeah. Birds that I've owned will squeak and holler and do all that. But a dog's just like, you know what, you're it for me. Thank you. I just spent 3 weeks, actually over the course of a year since last March, actually in my last solar new year, there was a stray dog in another neighborhood that was getting beat or abused. It ended up back at the shelter. A guy and his son adopted it, apparently. They changed his name to another name. It ended up back in the same exact neighborhood and showed up on my birthday on Halloween. And it was skinny and it just put its head in my lap and my friends, and its eyes were just like, help me. You got to help me. And I'm like, and I actually got this dog back to its original owners back in March of 2024. Well, the success story happened after I fostered it. It got adopted to a girl that is a student. It got qualified. He got qualified to be the mountain cur. He got qualified to be a special needs dog. And so he gets to ride on the campus bus with her, and he gets to go to school with her. And she drove all the way down to Kentucky to get this dog after seeing pictures of him online. And so from loving that dog and telepathically knowing, that dog kept running back in this other neighborhood where I visit one of my friends. And when it showed up on All Hallows, I thought, that's it. I'm making a commitment to the dog. So I stepped in with the shelter to foster the dog. Here, they'll give you the money for the food to feed the dog. I said, no. I'm going to cook for this dog, and I'm going to holistically get nutrition into this dog, and I'm going to do some training with this dog. And it absolutely, the richness of my heart. I went to see the dog 2 weeks ago when the girl was driving down with her sister from Kentucky, and I went into the visitor's room with the dog because he loves me. And I looked at him and I said, your soul asked me to help you. I just want to tell you, it's a little bittersweet, but we did it. We did it. You're going to Kentucky. We did a success story. And so she texts me and gets in touch with me and asks me questions. And all the times he would hug me and jump and everything, when I said to him, she's coming. It's 3:30. She'll be here by 4. I just wanted to thank you for the medicine that you brought into my life. It looked like you really needed me, but I want to thank you for all that you gave me, how you gave the love back to me. And my dog immediately got along with him. Everything was fate. Everything was kismet. And it doesn't always turn out so successful. I know that with shelter dogs and all that. But it was that was a big message for the solar return for me this year on Halloween, that this little witch was going to help that dog. And so I get pictures. He's doing well. He finally got the love after one guy threatened to shoot him. Another guy had beat him. He chewed through wire tie-outs and everything. And he got typical. To absolutely, it was a dream. It was a dream. It was an animal alchemy that came true. And he is now living in bliss, once being rejected and abandoned. Yeah. And just
That's
absolutely
awesome,
a feral dog. And he absolutely accepted all the love. So he asked for help, and I rallied around him. And so I'm just telling you the story in that, was it convenient for me to do that? No. Was it financially viable to do that? No, but I had certain clients and all of a sudden, oh my God, yeah, I'm going to send a tithe. I'm going to send a tithe. So my extra money, besides what I do for Mother Nature's creatures anyway, was going to help this dog. And so he absolutely was a magician, Joe. He absolutely was the magician card in a dog that came to life. And so Camo became Leo and went to live with her. And she said, it's she had a lot of trauma in her life. And so he's healing her, and she gifted him a home. So it absolutely is an alchemical success story. So,
wouldn't
you may
it be
not
nice
get
if
to
we
keep
treated
the dog
each other the way we treat these animals? And that's another thing too that I don't know why I'm talking about this. There's so much Pisces energy. Like I'm looking at the chart now. Look at all. It's not just the moon. It's all over right now. But if we treated each other, I don't want to go on a tangent here, but it's real simple. Love is very, very simple. If we treated each other the way we treat our animals, we'd be on a different planet. And I'm talking about our pets, we don't.
And that's the only relationship I'll show up as, and that's the only friendship or relationship that I will allow to continue in my life. That commitment that I've made, because I'm a country girl, Joe. I'm feral. I'm a feral dog.
Think
I'm a
about
feral
it,
cat. And you know what?
If your animal doesn't do what you want them to do, or they offend you, what do you do? Do you hold on to it for years? Do you let it traumatize you? Do you physically abuse them? I mean, I hope not. A lot of times you just let it go.
Well, I was also blessed. I was blessed with a stray dog that the guy knew when it happens to be. I've rescued dogs and cats all my life, and I never knew their birth date because they weren't purebreds and had papers and all that. And the dog that I've had for 4.5 years, when I went to get her in North Georgia, I said to the guy, I said, so you have the dad and the mom. Do you happen to know? I've never had a dog, but I knew its birth date. I would always just go with its birth date when I adopted it, or it came off the streets. And he said, oh, yeah, she was born Halloween night. And I said, that's my baby. That's my baby. So I got to look at her chart, and she's got a Pisces moon, Joe. So, and she is such a healer with other dogs. Now, we all know that a mixture of a border collie and a blue healer can kick some ass if it wants to. So I love that Scorpio side of her, but when it comes to other dogs, she'll course correct them. But she's absolutely the sweetest, most sensitive dog that I've ever owned, and I'm blessed that came into my life. So I that's good medicine for me. And a lot of times when people are lonely from a divorce or a breakup or a job ending, I say to them, when that stray cat shows up, or that dog shows up, or that bird shows up, or that pet rabbit, or whatever it is, it's talking to you, and it's showing up to give you an energy shield. It's showing up to give you some of the missing components energetically. It's wanting to help you along your way, although by all external evidence, it'll look like it needs you to help it. But it's actually the heavens sending you a four-legged, or instead of a two-legged kind of a thing, or a winged one, or whatever it is that's in distress and that you help. It looks like that some compassionate love and empathic energy came out of you, and that you got to save the bug or whatever it was. But instead, you built good credit in your karmic account, and it showed that no matter who kicked you to the curb, you demonstrated love. When love showed up in need, you stepped up to the plate. And I promise you, that's what builds your better relationships. It really does. Be a feral dog. Be a feral cat. Watch who treats you right or not. Just look at who sees you. When you're busy going deeper inside of you in this Pisces season with all these Pisces planets, and Mars is in water, Mars is in Cancer right now, and like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on that's stirring what is spiritual and emotional security to me. And I promise you, Joe's right. Love wins, and no matter what everybody else is doing, find your version of how you are a wizard and an alchemist, that you can demonstrate love in the world every day you go out the door.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then reevaluate. I think that's the biggest thing, is the seed. What is the actual seed of your dreams, and then how can it spread the love that you want to spread into the world? It doesn't have to be massively on the internet. I mean, I think it was Jenny was in the chat the other day talking about, well, she got this new job and she's cooking. You could tell it made her happy. Like sometimes it's little things, man, like stuff like that. makes all the difference if that's your dream. But no one is going to tell you. No one even, matter of fact, nobody gets the right to tell you what that is. You get to show us what that is. You know, that's it. And I'm kind of excited because I'm kind of at right now, Mary, digging for, I love what I do and everything, but things didn't exactly manifest the way that I dreamed them to, and I've been frustrated with it. But this whole thing is teaching me a bigger lesson, like, having me reevaluate a lot of things in a good way, in a real good way. Pisces energy is pretty intense, though. So, do you want to give us your final message of the night, Mary? Or did we lose Mary? Oh man, I hope I didn't lose her. I had to call her on her cell phone, so there's a chance that I might have lost her.
Can you hear me now?
I got you there.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Thank you. I think the final sweet spot for all of us, a continual sweet spot, is that if we will just trust that as we let go of behaviors or attitudes or actions that we know debilitate us, we know it's either strengthening you or it's weakening you. And as we can do that step by step and say, I'm okay to let that go because that's not the best part of me, and I'm okay to let that go, even though it took me down a path of weakness and it broke me and I broke others. I understand that that's not what's in my heart. I was walking wounded, and now I'm a walking warrior for the lights of love and compassion in action. So let's all be compassion in action. That doesn't mean you take, again, I'm going to reiterate with Pisces. Pisces, the better part of Pisces is able not to let people walk all over them and let them be abused by other people's disrespect. So it's about moving away, just distancing yourself from the part of you that gets tempted to crash and burn or allow toxic things, and step by step say, no, that was me then, this is me now. And although I may not see the fruits of my labor right away, I have faith. I know there are invisible, not seen forces that are mysteries at work all the time, and I trust great mystery. And I know that I want to align myself with good. I want to align myself with the great I am, and just work with that. If you just work with it from now until the full moon in September, at the end of the first week of September, give yourself 6 months. It'll fly by quicker than you know it. It'll fly by. But let's go Pisces to Pisces as part of the Lighting the Void energy project. And let's do the Pisces energy. It's at new moon and it'll come to full moon. And let's do a report. Let's make some notes of our dreams and everything right now at this new moon in late February of 2025. And let's see how that manifests with the moon being full and beautiful and eclipsed as we come into September of 2025. I think it would be a great alchemical experiment myself.
All right. Well, I will take your advice on that, Mary. And thank you all for...
Me too. I'm going to do it too.
For listening tonight. I've just had the picture up of you on here. I forgot to even switch back to the scenes. Yeah. So thank you guys for coming out tonight for Cosmic Conditions. We'll be back again, obviously next month during the new moon. Make sure you get a reading from Mary if you haven't got one. Even if you're a skeptic, I dare you to get one. How about that? I'll put that dare out there. And, then you can come back to me and then tell me your whole evaluations about everything that you thought. And those of you that have always supported Mary, since there's been people that have been on here supporting Mary and getting readings from her and have told me that it's changed their life countless times. It's getting kind of monotonous, to be honest with you. There's so many of them, Mary. You're doing too much, man. You need to take a vacation.
Monotonous in a good way.
Yeah, in a real good way. So, anyways, we love you, Mary. Thanks for coming on the show. I love
Thank you.
And
thank you, honey.
We'll see you guys next week. And sweet dreams. Night night.